Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. If you are new here, hi, I'm Jonathan Deputy, and I garden here in Middle Georgia Zone 8B. Now we are at the beginning of June, and I thought now would be a perfect time to take you all along on a garden tour and show you how the garden has been progressing through the season. So I have mentioned in some previous videos that we have been having an abnormally cool season, and that is absolutely true. That is still true. It's been an abnormally cool season, and typically by the point of like the beginning of June, you do want most things to be already in the ground at this point and have, be growing, but we do have a really long growing season down here. We have like a 200 plus day growing season. And the other thing is we've been having an abnormally cool year. And so what that has allowed us to get away with is being able to put plants in the ground that like typically you want your tomatoes to be in the ground and have, a couple months of growth on them before that really hot weather kicks in and it starts stressing the plants out. But because we've been having that cooler weather, it has allowed us to get things in a little later and we can get away with it, which is really cool. Obviously, we still have our strawberry beds producing strawberries, and they have slowed down quite a bit, but we are still pulling off strawberries in these beds, and they were doing pretty well. Not a whole lot going on down here, just some volunteer flowers, and at the end of this bed here I threw in the remaining Yukon Gold potatoes that we had. So these are just some Yukon Gold potatoes in here. This doesn't have anything in it. And something I do want to mention is these petunias that I kept referring to as native petunias. So I actually looked these up not that long ago, I can't remember, a couple weeks ago. And these are actually an old-fashioned vining petunia is what they're known as. And apparently they were really popular in the early 19th century, and that was like, America's favorite petunia, I guess. But what happened is they fell out of fashion as other petunias became available for sale and they were breeding different things. So these just ended up falling out of fashion. Now, what I love about these is that the way we ended up with them is I got a couple plants from a neighbor who had them all over her yard, and they have spread like wildfire. Like there's a plant back there's a plant over there were the plants in those raised beds back there, and they just come up all over the place. But the great thing about them is because they're vining, they get really tall, they'll actually get kind of straggly, and you can cut them back and they will bush forth again for you. So they actually will work as like a cutting flower, which is really, really nice. They smell really good. They actually have the most beautiful smell, especially later in the evening like this. They emit a much sweeter smell at this time. But I really like them. I love the color they bring to the garden. And, free flowers, I'm okay with it. So this is our carrot row. It looks really good. I never ended up thinning. I just never got around to doing it. So we might end up with some really tiny carrots, some stragglers, some, deformed ones, but that's okay, honestly. But they look so good. They are so soft. They're such a vibrant green. They look so good on camera. I don't know. I just love them. And I have like the Scarlet Nate, Tender Sweet, Little Finger, Half Long. I have a Rainbow Blend in here, and they're just doing really well in this bed. And some of them have really good size on them. Like that one looks like it's pretty decently sized. So I'm pretty excited for that. And we can start harvesting them at this point and start using them like as needed. So like if we want to go ahead and harvest some of these and use them, we absolutely can. And what we'll probably end up doing is we'll probably end up pulling them and then like layering them in bins with like wood chips or something like that to store them. I don't know, I haven't gotten that far yet, but that's what's in the back of my mind. So our peas are kind of getting exhausted and tired and spent. We have pulled a lot off and eaten fresh, but the potatoes on the other side of the fence look so good. And something I can't figure out is that they have started blooming, and I know they're not ready to harvest yet, but some of them have started to bloom. So I don't really know why. I did look it up and they were like, well, don't worry about it. It is what it is. Just keep moving on. So that's what I'm doing. They probably do need some water, but they're looking really good back there. I mean, I'm really happy with them. I feel like the grow bags are working really well. I think they just look really, really good. And I'll leave these grow bags linked down below if you want to check those out too. But like, they just look so good. This bed here is directly across from our carrots, and I'm probably going to end up putting, I think, probably sweet potatoes in here. Maybe beans, I'm not 100% sure, but I think sweet potatoes will end up in here. So I need to pull these weeds out. Like, this hot mess in here is awful. I've been dreading to deal with that, but I'll pull all these out, throw some amendments down, and then get this area planted, probably most likely with sweet potatoes. Now, something you may notice that has changed is our garlic is gone, and that is because it was time to harvest it. I pulled it out. It is currently curing at the moment. It is a soft neck variety, so I will just kind of wait for their stems to brown all the way, and then I'll braid them and store them. But that can be planted with something else. There is just one collard left here, and I just left it. I just yanked all the leaves off, and it's just kind of growing back a little bit, so it's just there at the moment. Some zinnias, leftover tomatoes, and then these beautiful tomatoes that were not planted in the last tour I took you guys on. I haven't mentioned any of this, but there are just so many. I planted out all of our tomatoes, and they just look so, so good. So back here we have some sweet banana peppers. Those are store-bought. My peppers didn't make it. They just couldn't handle the chill this year. So there's some of these in here, and they're just now kind of greening up and getting dark. They looked really like, they were like super pale like this for a super long time, but they're just now getting that nice green color. We have some beefsteak tomatoes in here. I think these two might be cherry. Yeah, these are cherry super sweet 100 hybrids on the end, but we have some beefsteak, then we have some Better Boys, and some, I think, Early Girls over here. We have these gorgeous, what are these called? Orange Cosmos planted at the ends of these rows, and they just look gorgeous. I'm so happy with them. And I'll show you on this one what I did here is I pinched them back. And I came in here, I did an initial first pinch on it, and then I continued to come through and pinch on the sides. And so I've ended up with these plants with lots of branches, with lots of buds and lots of blooms, and I cut off buds. Like, I wasn't nice. I cut the buds off, and that allowed them to get really bushy, put on a lot of growth, and really bulk up, and their stems just have great size on them, so they're really established. And the great thing about that is that'll help them be able to handle the heat a lot better, because they have a deeper root system, and they can go deeper in the ground and have moisture for a longer period of time, as opposed to having a really leggy plant that doesn't have as developed as a root system in these really hot temperatures that you get as the season goes on. But I'm just so excited for them and so happy, and they're just ready to burst forth with all sorts of beautiful blooms. I got the tomatoes are in the ground here. We have a Mr. Stripey with a nightmare going on here. I need to fix that. I'm gonna have to take some clippings just to ensure that I get a stripy tomato. But anyways, there are some Cherry Gardener's Light tomatoes. I think there's some Early Girls down there, as well as some determinate varieties. I did lose some tomatoes after planting, but that's just a part of it. But on either side of the tomatoes, we have bush beans. So these ones are Blue Lake bush beans. These ones are early contenders. And then I just planted, I think it was yesterday I did this. I just planted Blue Lakes on this side and early contenders on this side. I'll weed that other side, put in more early contenders, and I will continue doing that on either side of the tomatoes all the way. So I do have quite a bit of weeds to pull. I believe that this variety here, let's check the plant tag. These are Early Girls. I think this one might have been a saved seed that cross-pollinated with the Brandywine, because it's got a potato leaf. But I also have some, I think the Mortgage Lifters are over here. So these are the Mortgage Lifters, and they look super good. And I'm just getting to the point where I need to run twine. I just haven't done that yet. But this one looks really good, and there's blossoms forming, so that's exciting. So hopefully those beans will come up. Over here, this is cool. These are the Black Beauty tomatoes, and they have such dark stems. Like, isn't that just gorgeous? Like that beautiful deep color on the stems. I am so excited for these tomatoes, and we even have a couple of blossoms on here, which is really exciting. I have some ginger in pots over here, just kind of hanging out, hoping that they bulk up. I don't remember what's over here. I think that these are the Dr. Witchy's Yellow and the Jubilee tomatoes. Okay, those are in here. And then the tried and true Black Krim and Cherokee purples are in that weedy mess over there that I just haven't tackled. I'll get to it. I'll do this side first and then I'll pop over there. So we'll do that. But we got this Candy Store Cosmos over here. I probably need to pull a lot of these seeds off to get them to bloom more of these beautiful old-fashioned petunias. And the fascinating thing on these is the color. Look at that, how you have that deep what's it, magenta almost like color, and then you have these almost white ones. Like, that is so beautiful. I love that. And it's the same thing with these Candy Store Cosmos. You get ones that look like this, and you get some that look like that, and these are both new blossoms. So I just love how plants do that, how they can look more than one way. So the deal with the onion row here is that I harvested all of our onions that had bolted, that had gone to seed, and this is an example of one that has gone to seed. You can see that it's flowered, and they're like something out of Dr. Seuss. They're so pretty, and they have the most mild smell. Like, now the great thing about onion flowers, you can eat them, so you can sprinkle them in salads, garnish whatever you want to do with them. They look really great in a vase. They have the most mild onion scent to them, so I think that's why they look so cool in floral arrangements, because they just look like an allium, but the onion smell really isn't super strong, in all honesty. But once your onion bolts, the bulb isn't going to bulk up, and that's what you want. So I went ahead and just pulled everything, cut the flowers off, and I have them in the lean-to curing. They may not cure properly. They probably won't. We'll just eat as much of them as we can, in all honesty, is what we'll do. And we'll just kind of see what happens. So it's kind of all an experiment. But these are all the onions left that didn't bolt, which is really exciting, because I thought more had bolted than did. So that actually made me very happy that not all of them completely bolted. So the cucumbers actually did end up doing super well. They were planted on the outside and on the inside of the fence. And an armadillo, it came back, unfortunately, and it's been just like tilling up the soil. So it took out a bunch of the cucumber plants that were thriving. So that's, cut your losses and move on, I guess. But so the ones we have, they're like, this one on the end here looks really good. But I wish I had more. So maybe this fall I'll plant a bunch more. I lost one, what is that called? Eggplant. But then I have 3 right here. So these eggplants look really good. They're beautiful. They're Midnight Queen. And I think all 3 of these are Midnight Queen. The one I lost was Black Beauty, but that's okay. The Midnight Queen look good. And then I have a little marigold here. This side of the trellis with the morning glories doesn't look super good, but this side looks like what I wanted, like really bushy, and we're hoping that just grows up and continues. Petunia on that side of the fence looks good. It's next to a poblano. Another marigold. I think that this is calendula. It may not be. We'll have to wait and see. I planted calendula here. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I should probably double check, but I think that's what that's supposed to be. So I didn't pull them out because I'm hoping for that. And then all this are our cherry tomatoes. So we have the what is this one called? I think this is the Bumblebee Pink Cherry Tomato. We have the Black Cherry, and then we have Cherry Super Sweet 100 Hybrid with, look at that, baby cherry tomatoes. So early, so excited. Another beautiful zinnia that's showing its flowers. Pink, I love that color. Ooh, that's pretty. And then these plants are just a lot bigger. They need to be pruned and starting to be trained up the fence, and there's more tomatoes coming in back there. That is so exciting. First tomatoes, I love it. And then this zinnia, and it's kind of hard to tell what color it's going to be, but it's going to have a pink center. And then no big dill, but I did grow that dill from seed, so that's exciting. Some of the dill I planted made it, survived. That's mammoth dill. And then the criminal squash right there, that looks criminal. I mean, honestly, I don't know what's the matter with it. I'm going to have to plant some more. It's supposed to be a vining one that like you trellis, and it just looks stunted. I don't know. So I'm going to have to plant some more of that to see what happens. In this mess of weeds here, we have our black cream tomatoes, which are just tried and true. They're great. And then Cherokee purples down there, which are doing better this year, which is a good sign. And just a lot of weeds that need to be pulled. The onions here with the red ribbon I'm saving, or I think it's red yarn. I'm saving those for seed. I did 4 of each variety, so I have the sweet, the white, and then the red are down there. So this area got really weedy. These are the cantaloupes, and they're just like stunted. They did the same thing that the smooth criminal squash did. They just don't want to grow. So I'm gonna come in here and weed it really good. I may or may not replant it with cantaloupe, but look at all of these zinnias in here, you guys. Like, look at that. Like, if you want something that reseeds itself like insanely crazy, zinnias all the way. I have found that to be the most easy, most rewarding flower I've ever planted. It is insane how many of those, but like, because I thought at first it was the weeds, but like this one isn't super choked out by the weeds. This is a cantaloupe and it just looks so sad. The pumpkins are looking good, and check out these volunteer marigolds. They're massive. Look how pretty they are. They look great. There's 2 of them right there. But these are the Connecticut Fields pumpkins. So I'm gonna try and move the vines into the path. But they look so good. I'm really hoping. I'm rooting for pumpkins this year. There's a couple spots where they didn't come in, but like I had really good germination with them. I need to come in here and weed before it gets real bad. And then right here it changes into pie pumpkins. So those are going to be slightly smaller, more compact plants, but they look pretty good. Lots of zinnias. I'm kind of at the point with these sections where they really just need to be weeded. But this is all butternut squash. Once again, I just need to do a bunch of weeding. That looks really good. It's starting to put on size and vine. And then these are honeyboat squashes. I've never planted those before, so we'll see what we end up with, but they look really good. I'm happy with these. But the thing that has done the best has been these gorgeous spaghetti squashes. I mean, I am just blown away with how well those did. Like, I almost didn't plant a whole row of these, and I'm so glad that I did. They put on size quicker than anything else. They look amazing. And like they're just really vining. Like, look how beautiful. Honestly, I'm just obsessed. So really excited about these, really looking forward to them. I do have a couple of, I had some like loofah gourds that didn't do on here. I also had these honey nut squashes here. Here's like a tiny baby honey nut right there forming. And this area just kind of is just bleh, so it's just not really doing anything. More peas in here. You can see like dead ones. So I really need to come out here and start pulling out the dead peas. And then I threw a bunch of rotten wood in here because I was doing stuff. So that just ended up in here. So nothing's going on with these beds right now. This whole back area needs a little TLC at some point. So yeah, just gotta get kind of focused on priorities here. One of the last things that have done extremely well has been this fence line, and it's been this gray zucchini. Look how beautiful it is, you guys. That's ready to be harvested. I need to go get a knife and pull that off, but look how beautiful that gray zucchini is, and it's just performing amazing. So I've been really struggling with summer squash like this for the last couple of years, and so I'm like, gray zucchini must be the answer, because I'm like, it is performing so good. I have 4 in the fridge right now, and it looks like I need to pull another 3 or 4 out here. Like, they look so good. And my favorite way to eat these is with spaghetti sauce, honestly. So something you can do is you can cut them into discs and then just saute them with butter or oil and a little bit of salt, pepper, and cut up an onion, maybe throw some garlic in there, and just do that in a pan, just saute it real quick just so it's soft, and then you can put spaghetti sauce on it. And you don't have to put meat in it if you're vegetarian, but just throwing some spaghetti sauce on there, honestly, it is so good, and it is so refreshing, and it's just a nice break from pasta when you want something that has a very fresh, flavor to it. It's very refreshing. And the other thing is, if you're gluten-free, which we are gluten-free, and you don't want to eat gluten-free pasta, that is a great substitute. If you're trying to stay away from grains, that is a really great substitute, is using summer squash. So you can use, a Crookneck's yellow summer squash, or a gray zucchini or a black zucchini or something like that, and it works really well. And then the very last thing, I worked on this all day today, was getting this area ready for corn. So what's going to go out here is some black beans, some black-eyed peas. This whole area here is going to be beans. This middle section here where these flags are is going to be corn. And then this back section is probably going to be some melons and maybe some more beans. And the reason for that being is because we're going to do 2 rotations of corn. And so what's going to happen is this corn is a very heavy nitrogen feeder, but beans, legumes, they put nitrogen in the soil. So what's going to happen is this is all going to be planted with legumes. We're going to harvest them, and then we're going to plant a second batch of Lady Violet sweet corn in here. And then this one, once it's all spent, hopefully the melon vines will have grown into it. So it won't be that big a deal. We'll be able to get in there and harvest and whatnot. And it's not like we have to replant in there again. And it'll kind of have like a boost of nitrogen from those plants. So that's kind of the idea is, you know, the melons will go over there. If they creep in, it'll be okay because we're not going to plant in there again until next season, and the corn will go over there. So that's kind of the idea behind the rotation of, and kind of the idea of the setup here. There's 13 rows. So I'm pretty excited about getting this space planted up. And then this long skinny bed here, I don't know what's going to happen, in all honesty. Anything could end up in here at this point. It could be flowers, it could be beans, it could be corn. I don't know what's going to end up in here. It's just kind of here. It's ready to go. But yeah, it's just over here. I am running out of light, and I apologize for that. But I really appreciate you for tuning in with me. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. Feel free to click that big red subscribe button. And if you never want to miss a brand new upload, click that bell icon. You'll get notifications every time that I upload. Always feel free to drop a comment down below. I love hearing from you all. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.